Today we have several nominees on the agenda who are ripe for consideration, as well as two new bills. We'll vote on two district judges today, David Nye, Idaho, Scott Polk of Western District, Oklahoma. These nominees were nominated by President Obama last year, and we held a hearing on them at that time. When they were renominated by President Trump this year, I gave members who were not on the committee last Congress an opportunity to ask these nominees written questions if they wanted to, just like I did in the past for President Obama's nominees who went back to the White House and were resubmitted. Both these nominees have strong home state support and were reported out of this committee last Congress on a voice vote. Also on today's agenda is Francis Cisna to be Director, United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. As this committee knows from firsthand experience, Francis has a brilliant legal mind, is very much an expert in the intricacies of our nation's lawful immigration system. He has years of experience across both public and private sectors, including time at the Department of State and in leadership and management roles in the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Policy. And of course, he served as a detailee on my immigration team. Now I've heard some concerns that Francis doesn't have enough management experience, but I'm a little confused by this. He's held management roles at Homeland Security for over 8 years. He is truly an immigration expert, and our committee should appreciate that someone with so much experience and knowledge is taking the helm of USCIS. I'm happy to support his nomination. We'll also vote today on the nomination of Vishal Amin to be Intellectual Property Enforcement Coordinator. Mr. Amin is a well-qualified nominee, having worked in IP issues at the United States Patent and Trademark Office, Office of Secretary of Commerce, White House, and most recently, the House Judiciary Committee. I will also vote to confirm Mr. Amin. Stephen Boyd to be Assistant Attorney General for Legislative Affairs is also on today's agenda. Mr. Boyd currently serves as Chief of Staff for the Office of Legal Counsel, and I would like to have people pay attention why I do not want to have a vote on this nominee today, even though it's ripe. There are two reasons. The first, because of the number of overdue pending letter responses from the Justice Department that unfortunately, to some extent, go back to the Obama administration. At the time of Mr. Boyd's confirmation hearing, the committee was waiting for more than 15 overdue letter responses. Some of these responses were due more than 6 months ago in the fall of 2016. In regard to that, not only for the President Attorney General when he came to my office for a private meeting prior to his confirmation, like I do for a lot of cabinet people, whether it's agriculture or whether it's finance where I serve or this committee. I presented a whole folder of letters that were unanswered from the previous administration, but it doesn't matter whether that's a previous administration, Democrat or Republican, because I did the same thing when Obama came in 2009. I said, surely you can get these answered for us. And so you can see we have about 16 outstanding letters for this individual. Now, to some extent, for the benefit of the minority members, but remember, we Republicans are in the minority from time to time. We had this problem that this administration, like going back to Reagan, weren't going to answer letters for minority members. Whether you're in the minority or the majority, we got even court cases that says individual senators are entitled to do oversight. In fact, it's our constitutional responsibility to do oversight. So, you know, that's a little different than what I'm holding up this guy for right now, because just 16 letters aren't answered. That's not a Republican or Democrat thing. That's just my wanting my letters answered. Maybe a lot of you are falling in that same category. I don't know. I'm just talking about.
We are, Mr. Chairman.
15 that I'm writing. See, okay. Now the second reason, the department has refused. Now, can you believe this? The department has refused to make Mr. Boyd available for even a conversation with the committee's oversight and investigative staff. The department needs to improve its communication with committee members and staff. It needs to be more serious about answering the mail and the questions from Congress. And of course, this is a problem that was even, well, now Democrats may disagree with this. I say it's a little worse even in the Obama administration, but we're only 5 months into this administration. Maybe 6 months from now I'll say the same thing. But with the new administration, I want to do something about it, and I want to get this message, and that's why I don't want to go to a vote on Boyd today. I hope that we will resolve these outstanding letter responsibilities. So, as I said, his nomination is being held over, and I'm repeating that only because my staff typed it in here. The first bill on our agenda is the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, 2017. I introduced this bipartisan bill last week. It would extend a number of grant programs under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which we last authorized 2013. Senators Feinstein, Cornyn, Klobuchar, Hatch, and others are co-sponsors. The bill has the support of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Rights for Girls, Shared Hope International, Polaris, the National District Attorneys Association, the National Criminal Justice Association, among others. The second bill on our agenda is the Abolish Human Trafficking Act, 1311. Senator Cornyn is the lead sponsor on this. I'm a co-sponsor, along with Senators Klobuchar, Feinstein, Coons, Hatch, and others. Among its major provisions, this bill would enhance penalties for human trafficking and extend the Domestic Trafficking Victims Fund, which our committee established in 2015. This bill, too, has widespread support among advocacy groups. Both of these bills will be held over. Senator Feinstein.